Saab in the UAE has been on quite a growth journey. When I joined Saab 5 years ago approximately, and we were no more than a couple of handfuls of people in Saab down here. And now setting up this new company, and of course the big programs of airborne early warning coming in as well. We are more than 100 people. Actually, we're exceeding 130 people now. So it's an extreme growth journey that we're on, and it also shows the commitment of Saab of taking part of this journey on a long-term perspective. So Saab again was founded on innovation basically. I mean, back in 1937, it was founded on the government having a need for an aerospace industry to become independent of suppliers that wouldn't supply to the country. So they instigated industry, and of course, to build up a knowledge base around aerospace from scratch, you need to have the best brains from academia to do that. So part of our DNA is the triple helix foundation, where government, industry, and academia plays together in a nice harmony to achieve great innovation. And the middle wheel you see in front of you is the Saab innovation and performance wheel. It's actually our strategy wheel in simplified form. So obviously innovation, market, and performance with people around it, and now sustainability is becoming more and more important, not also within the defense market segment. And recently we launched, or Saab launched the race to zero for sustainability on fuels for jet fighters, just to mention an example. And also a nice number to remember here, that we spend a lot of our revenues on R&D. In fact, over time, it's between 20 and 25% every year. And it's just to stay ahead of the game because of the market-driven desire for being and having the best technology in those markets. On R&D, we are doing kind of a focusing on our product portfolio. So since 2010, we have reduced our product portfolio from 600 to 200, and at the same time, we're still a growing company, now 18,000 people. And in 2010, it was about 10,000. So it's quite a growth journey as well on people. But by focusing our efforts on the successful core products that we have achieved greater things within those areas. Very interesting also for this part is that some of these countries that we focus on is UAE is among them, as you see below. Obviously, the big ones, US, UK, Australia, and Sweden, are the main focus areas. And then we have UAE, Brazil, Finland, and Germany, where we are growing fast as we speak. Brazil based on a Gripen program. Finland also very much so on Gripen, but also big Navy programs that we have in Finland, being our closest neighbor and a strategic partner, not only for Saab, but also for the government. And Germany, we recently won large Navy contracts as well, and it will be based for growth with the company that we also have down there. We are trying to focus on the new technologies. Obviously, additive printing is becoming more and more interesting and cost efficient. AI, also in the UAE, very much something that will be part of nearly every product in the future. Digitalization and model-based design, and simulation and ANSYS is part of that journey for us. I'll come back to that in a little bit. So what is our strategy for the innovative solutions? We need to be close to the customers in key markets. And you saw those countries before. Those are basically Saab's key markets, and UAE is one of them. And we are, again, in our DNA, we want to collaborate with the government, with the end users, and with the academia in each of these countries. Without these collaborations, we will not be successful in having a cost-efficient, end-user-focused product in the end. People is a very important part of this ecosystem, and you saw the Saab strategy before, that people surrounds the whole thing, and we continuously develop leaders and employees. We actually launched a whole new internal AI-based learning system internally the past week, a couple of weeks ago now. So now we push out training programs that are based on the needs of the single employee in Saab, which is a great step forward. We will use our systems integration knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge within systems integrations, and the future is systems of systems, more and more integration, AI based. We have a lot of experience within this, and we have a great legacy that we will build on, for not start over every time, but base it on what we know already. What are the success factors of a good ecosystem? Obviously, UAE again is it's been on a fantastic journey the past 50 years, and there are a lot of things that comes into recognition when it comes to the UAE, but there is still room for development, especially within high-tech industry, where the ecosystem is still lacking a little bit behind compared to the mature markets in Europe, North America, and so on. But trade is, and the geographical location is excellent. The infrastructure is there, economy, finance is there, politics and support is there, education is there's a lot of investment in this and a lot of focus, and especially with the latest initiatives, also the 50 initiatives, there's going to be a lot of good things coming out of that. But it's still a journey within this area as well. I'll come back to that in the end on experience. And of course, communication systems and the digital society that will support a high-tech industry is also rapidly establishing itself down here. What is the purpose? Why are we doing R&D? I mean, we have 5 core areas in Saab that we are focusing on, and it's advanced weapon systems, it's aeronautics, it's sensors, it's underwater systems, and it's command and control systems. The green ones are what we are doing part of in the UAE. This is where we're going to build our knowledge base in the UAE within sensor area and command and control. And that includes AI and all the different skills that you need to build these products, communication-wise as well. So it is quite a journey to attract and retain the talent, especially locally within these areas, to become successful. And there are different ways of doing this, of course, transfer of technology and IP coming from our other entities and so on. But that is not the concept that we have chosen to adapt in this case, for many reasons. So why did Saab choose to focus on the UAE? I mean, we have a very nice relationship with the authorities here in the UAE and the end user, Tawasun is also. So we have the highly supportive authorities and customers here that will allow us to grow and have visions and share the journey with the UAE. That was number one. And then our global strategy in Saab is to grow outside Sweden. And how do we do this then? We do that by becoming local in different markets. And the markets, again, you saw before, these countries are where we're going to focus on developing localized IP outside Sweden more and more. Saab needs to grow to the double size by 2030. That is our aim, and UAE is part of that goal. And that is, of course, to have more access to markets. When you have a foothold in a new region, then you gain more market access, and also we try not to contaminate the IP from different, let's say, more restrictive export areas, so that we can access more markets with the IP that we have in each region. then it becomes a company brand decision if we want to go to certain markets instead of authority decisions in many cases. Offset, many regard offset as a burden. In Saab, we take it as an opportunity in the UAE because we've been given this great opportunity to invest in Saab Ltd and grow from supported by Offset and Tawasan, so that we can actually utilize the Offset in Saab instead of let's say other external non-core activities to Saab. That is an excellent opportunity, and we need to see more of that and encourage Tawasan, of course, to continue down that road that will benefit both parties. Access to local R&D funding is also important, and Offset is one part, but going forward, we need to have a more developed ecosystem around this. And I know that there are a lot of good initiatives within R&D funds, more specialized and focused, and we want to tap into these. And again, it's part of the triple helix strategy of government, academia, and industry to find the niches for this country and move forward and develop very high-tech edge technology in the chosen areas. What are the local challenges then here in the UAE? It's still a young ecosystem. Again, as mentioned, we are part of this journey. We realize that, and it's going to take a lot of investment and time, but we're in it for the long run together with everyone else here in the UAE. The supply chain is not that developed yet locally. I mean, we still have to import a lot of, especially on the component level. This is where I would like to see the component level suppliers develop more in the UAE. I mean, there's a lot of good initiatives on establishing full capability, like the landed companies in an edge, of course, in the UAE in defense sector. But we need components, quite complex components, to do our very high-end R&D in this region. And we still need those components from the likes of US, Japan, Korea, other places. So if we can get and encourage more of these component manufacturers just to set up some kind of capability here, even sales offices locally, that is the first step. And we are definitely in talks with multiple high-end component deliverables companies to encourage them to do that, because there is a market here in the future for them. And then there's a little bit of to work on the agility level, on volume versus custom. R&D is a lot of custom-made things, especially in the R&D phase. The simulation tools that ANSYS delivers are part of not doing so many iterations in the R&D, but in the end we will need prototypes, etc., to get to a qualified product. And the lead times on the different custom work in the country is something that we can work on with the different entities that we use right now. Human resources is both good and bad. I mean, we are a totally globalized society in the UAE with, I mean, there's probably not a nation that is not represented in the UAE, which is great. So we can recruit globally, and it's an attractive place. But experienced specialists within these very narrow fields are still a problem to recruit. It really is. And now we've gone through a COVID time where onboarding and recruitment has been even more stressful, and longer term it's been almost impossible to recruit internationally to get specialists on board. But we are finally getting back to normal, which is great. And the local talent and experience is for example, building a sensor, an advanced sensor, is not really there yet. We need to build up from the beginning, and train our local talent, and that is the concept that we have adopted. So we hire a lot of graduates, young Emirati engineers now that we will train internally to become specialists in the end. And we of course hope and we encourage competition in the broader area of our segments. Hopefully not too much in the same area, but of course the local market is important to us, and it's still a competition with the public sector for local talent, and because of the attractiveness of working there and traditions and so on. But we see a lot of interest from the young people, and especially the young ladies, for working with us. So it's really good to have very good universities and keep improving the pipelines. And we have there's a lot to do there for us as well in the future. And then still, so we can develop our own local talent with a lot of Emiratis here. There's a lot of young engineers coming out every year, and we need to provide jobs for them. And just to finalize, just a comment on ANSYS. I asked around the engineering team. It's just a really, really good platform to develop on. And the fact that Edge also now tries to get it rolled out as the main tool for simulation and other applications within the Edge companies to get synergies is a testament to that. It's saving us a lot of time, and R&D is about time and money and getting to market quickly today, and simulation is definitely the way to go. And that combined with AI, we will speed up the R&D process much more in the future. Thank you for your time.